What's going on? All you movie lover badasses out there. Phat Samurai Guy is here with Lady Phatblood. That's right, and welcome to another episode of the Verbal Nectar podcast. That's right. The ridiculous name brought to you by ridiculous people.
We are trying something new.
Trying something new. Different camera angles. We're working it out. We're experimenting, if you will.
We don't know what the fuck we're doing. But by God, we're going to try.
Oh, those of you that are watching and listening, raise it up. Raise your horns up. Get your drinky, your alky going. That's right. Skull. Skull. All right, let's go ahead and drink it up here. Yeah, that's good stuff there. All right. All right, let's get started today. So, that's right. If you are new to the podcast, we talk about... Oh, I got a booger. Booger coming out. If you are new to the podcast, that's right. This is what you're going to get. We're raw and real here, damn it.
And
all
weird.
Right?
And
there
very
may be
weird.
boogers coming out.
Very fucking weird.
Yes.
And just
it's fun.
I don't know.
It's fun.
We don't know, okay?
But if you are new, that's right, watchers and listeners, if you are new to the podcast, we love talking about movies and cinema. And yes, I know they are the same damn fucking thing.
He finally realized it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You like it? Yeah, this is fucking, you know? I like it. It flows off the tongue. Movies and cinema, that's right. Films and cinema, they're the same thing. I don't give a shit. I like talking and saying shit twice, all right? I'm similar to the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Something went
Say
wrong.
anything. Oh, what we got? We got audio coming from somewhere else.
My phone just went sentient. I'm so sorry. Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Shut up, phone.
Oh my God.
That's right.
How dare you?
All right, today we're going to talk about two Vigilante films. That's right. We're going to talk about two Vigilante of the genre of Vigilanteism.
One of which was a very, very pleasant surprise.
Yes, yes. So, first up, we're going to talk about The Annihilators. That's right. I don't know if you can see that. The Annihilators!
Okay, so what prompted you to purchase The Annihilators? Blind buy. That was a blind buy, correct?
It was a blind buy.
Okay.
And I got it for free. Arrow Video.
Oh, was it a buy one, buy two, get one?
Yeah, Arrow Video had the sale.
Okay.
Where you buy two, and then you get the third one basically for free. So I was like, it just looks like fun. The cover looks badass. You know, might have some grindhouse elements to it. You know, I don't know. I was like, fucking go and test it out. It's directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr. I apologize for my pronunciation of the names. I'm always terrible at that. That's right. But tons of special features on here if you guys are fans of this film. Go ahead and check it out. But when the movie started...
I was scared.
Yeah, we were a little nervous.
Yes.
We're a little nervous because we were having some of the worst keyboard synthesized soundtrack.
It was screaming generic. We got some guys in a jungle in a Vietnam setting.
Yes.
Go. Which we had also just come off the heels of watching the Riff Tracks version of McBain.
Yes, McBain.
Which kind of has a similar premise slightly.
Yes.
And that was not a pleasant experience at all. Like, Riff Tracks was the only thing that got us through that movie.
Yeah.
And McBain was, how do you waste Christopher Walken and Steve James and
Michael Ironside.
Michael frickin' Ironside.
Yeah.
All three of them are completely wasted in this film.
Yeah.
And one of the most boring, just like...
Oh, boring.
There are explosions and shootings and guns and all that, and we're just like, please end already. And so we just come off the heels of that.
It
and we're
got
like,
preachy, too.
oh, God, yeah.
Like,
and
we must save the world!
Yeah.
Save them from the coca!
Yeah,
the coca is bad!
So we're like, oh God, it's another guys in the jungle playing Vietnam movie, and we're no.
It was similar to McBain, though, because he's got an old military friend that saved their lives.
Right.
And now they want to repay the favor.
Correct.
Get their revenge in a way.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Except it wasn't fucking preachy and save the world from the coca.
Right, and it also wasn't boring.
It's bad.
It also wasn't boring.
Yes.
And there was a few. I had a pleasant surprise because I enjoy the the Death Wish films that I've seen. Now,
Yes.
I think I've
You
seen...
have not seen 4 yet.
Correct, and I've not seen 5.
You don't need to see 5.
I haven't seen that. So I've seen the first 3,
Yes.
and I enjoyed each of them for their own, reasons.
Yes.
So I enjoy, and I've seen The Exterminator 1 and 2.
Yes.
So I enjoy a good...
Ginty. He's the
He's the gintiest.
He's gintiest.
He's the gintiest. Thank you, Mr. Joel Hodgson. I know that's a Joel. I know that's a Joel joke. Okay, if you know MST, you know what a Joel joke is.
Yeah.
So I enjoy a good vigilante film, but what I also enjoy is a good film where people who are under fire from an external force, where they're being beat down or they're getting extorted or they're getting, in this case, it's this gang that has taken over the city, and they're coming in and, hey, give me your money and I'll, it's kind of like a protection racket, but it's more like, they're just terrorizing them.
Yeah. Pay us or we won't fuck you up.
I like a good fight backstory.
Oh, yeah.
And
never gets old.
So we got both. We got 2 for the price of 1 in this movie. So the buddy that kind of saved that kind of like...
Because they're all specialists, military
They're the
specialists.
best of the best, goddammit. You can't have a movie without it being the best of the best.
And that was one of the dialogue, too.
It was.
Yeah.
And so the guy, when they're in Vietnam, he like blows his cover to save the guys who are setting like this charge and all that.
Get ambushed.
And he like blows his cover so that they'll know, hey, you guys, they're coming.
Yeah.
And so he gets shot to hell and gets paralyzed. And so they flash forward to the 80s. I think this movie came out in 85.
Right.
And he's in a wheelchair. He's in the city that's like just gang ravaged and all that. And he's he don't really know the relationship of him and this old man that runs the shop. I don't know if it's like just a really good friend or what. It kind of seems like they're related based on the old man's reactions to what happens to the guy in the wheelchair.
It kind of sounded like he said "pa."
Maybe that makes sense that it's his dad, because the old man was selling the hell out of what happened.
Yeah,
like, he was selling the fuck out of that part.
But the movie, we were laughing and having a good time with it a little bit, and a little cringeworthy too, because the movie did not. It started fast.
Yes, it did, and
like,
that's important in this kind of movie.
Yes,
because we were talking about how this kind of movie, it knew exactly what it was. Which, look, we are not a good film. We are not a great film.
Right.
We
are small budget.
We are and kind of we are a very low budget. Right. We have a very simple story we want to tell, and we have this and this and this for budget, and this and this for the actors, and this and this and this for the story. Here you go.
Yeah.
But
fuck it, we're gonna do the best that we can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
we can applaud that.
Yeah. And so it's like, it's not a great film, but it's that kind of movie where it's not trying to be unlike another movie that we're gonna talk about later. Which ended up leading us down a very fascinating rabbit hole.
Yes.
Again, we're going to talk about later.
Yes.
So this movie, again, it wasn't a great film, but it tried its little heart out to do exactly what it set out to do. And I think in that aspect, it succeeded pretty well.
Yeah.
So the guy in the wheelchair, he's like, we got to stand. He's like telling the people of the city, this little subsect of the city, we got to stand up against these gang members. This is no way to live. And some of them are like on board, but they're like, but what can we do? We're just these people. We're not specialists. We're not trained, and this and that. And obviously they're scared because these gang members, they're gang members, and they got guns and weapons and shit like that. And
they blatantly kill. Oh, I'm sorry. Spoilers in this video.
Sorry about that.
Spoilers for all the movies we're going to talk about.
All 3 of them, yes.
All 3 movies are spoilers. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
So
but they kill the guy customer, female customer, right in front of them.
The pop goes out to go get something, and the wheelchair guy and this lady are stuck in the shop when the gang members come in and they're like, hey, we're not going to cooperate, and blah blah blah, and they both get murdered the fuck out of. And so the crew come in from Vietnam, and they're like, okay, well, this guy died for this place, so he started something, he believed in this place, so what are we gonna do? And our story goes from there. But what I was hoping, and this is what kind of ended up happening, was that they ended up taking the people that wanted to fight back.
Yes.
And they ended up kind of helping to train them to fight back. Now, it wasn't like hardcore. Everybody ended up with like an AK-47 at the end. It wasn't anything like that. obviously.
We got right to it. Like, they were already doing katas.
Oh.
They were already like, we're gonna just take this pencil and this is where they aim it.
Bless
you need
this
to aim
movie.
it right in
Bless
the neck.
this movie's heart. You know.
And I was surprised though that the community were that willing. To have, you know what, fuck these guys.
Yeah, most of them were on board with it. Most of them were like, yeah.
Because usually that's not the case.
Yeah,
so.
there was the one guy that was obviously kind of like the cowardly guy, and even he ended up, by the end of the film, I thought he was going to die.
Right.
But he ended up changing his tune once he almost got flame broiled. And then you had the 3 teenagers who were trying to get into the gang.
Yeah.
And who were also
was looking out for the future and giving money.
And I thought that was kind of a fun moment because they were still in school, they were still in high school, and they were getting paid to like kind of help smuggle the drugs. Because that's what you find out that the gang members are doing. They're like help smuggling all this Colombian like cocaine or something like that in throughout the city and all
heroin,
that.
I think.
Oh, okay.
But he wanted them to keep an eye out for the Annihilators.
Right.
Basically, keep him in the loop of where they're at.
Right.
Yeah.
And so by the end of the film, when the siege goes down, the kids are stuck on this school bus.
Yeah.
And one of the gang members hijacks the bus and threatens all the kids. Hey, we're gonna kill all these kids. If you don't surrender.
Yeah.
And the 3 delinquents that were trying to join the gang are in the back, and they're like, they're gonna look after our future. And one of them ends up killing the guy, and I was like, yay, this is so much fun.
And they actually called back to when they were getting trained.
Yes.
Of how to use the pencil and stab the guy in the neck, and the teenager stabbed the thug in the neck.
Very nice setup and payoff. Whoa. Very nice setup and payoff.
But yeah, with movies like this, they're very hesitant. I think Death Wish 3, which is one of our favorite movies of all time, by the way. Death Wish 3, guilty pleasure. Wish 3. I think they didn't really fight back till the end, but usually that's how it is with movies like High Noon. They don't give a shit. They don't help the hero, and the hero just has to do it on his own.
Yeah.
How many fucking Zatoichi movies?
All of them.
I know, right? The Blind Swordsman. Like Zatoichi will come in, kill all the bad guys, and not even get thanked.
Limp off into the sunset.
Limp off injured into the sunset, but
with one woman screaming after him.
But we love Zatoichi.
Oh yeah,
those are the greatest movies ever.
Those are great.
Yeah, but that's usually how it works. So it was kind of cool that instantly, even the senior citizens was like, "Hey, when the Annihilators got there, they were like, teach us, man. You know, fuck, give me the fucking broom. Yeah. All right, I'm taking out kneecaps.
Yeah.
But in terms of, so this was all a nice little fun. A pleasant surprise, but you know, the negative points, if we have to be picky, you know, it's still micro budget. But the thing though, for me though, is for a movie called The Annihilators, and when you see that badass cover, you should see the real cover. Oh. Have you seen the real cover? Look at it, the Arrow version, right?
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. This is even more amazing.
Oh no.
Yeah. Wow. Can you guys see that? Look at this. Can you see? Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. So if you see this, which is pretty epic.
Oh
right?
My goodness.
If you see this,
wow.
Or this, and for a title called The Annihilators, the action was very tame.
Yeah.
We had a car chase. We had a few combat martial arts scenes back and forth here and there, and we did have a few shootouts here and there, but no big body count. Especially, and that for me was a little disappointing, only because you have a lot of gang members. There was a lot, and I expected at least a lot. You know, they get fucked up, they get murked, but you know, the more body count, the better. But that's we have to warn people when they see something like this, or if they hear recommendations from us. Yeah,
again,
there's some stunts here and there.
This was a movie that we didn't expect a whole lot out of because we never heard of it.
No,
it was one of those where
in that whole beginning we were like, oh boy.
Yeah, we didn't expect anything out of it, and to go in blind, not having ever heard of it, and to expect nothing out of it,
Yeah.
and to see what the movie was attempting to do.
Yeah.
And also coming off the heels of a similar film with McBain, where they wasted their entire cast.
Yeah.
And then you see these group of actors that we didn't really know. Like, I had only known of one of the actors
Yeah.
prior to that, and I'd only known him from a couple of roles from the 80s, from when I was a kid.
Right.
And they're very small roles.
Right.
Okay, and that was Christopher Stone, the leader of
Ex-husband of
D. Wallace.
D. Wallace.
Yeah.
He was in The Howling.
Okay, so there you go. Okay.
And we have the one soldier on their team that was kind of like the alcoholic, had
Okay.
a bad relationship. I don't know if you have fact checked in front of you, but he was the one that was in Rambo, First Blood Part 2.
Oh,
He was
okay.
one of the POWs
And I don't even know his name.
that
but
helped
that's the
fought
problem.
back.
Okay.
And of course, you got, old boy Bud the Chud.
Oh, that's right, Bud the Chud. I forgot about him. I forgot about him being in
Chud
there.
2, Bud the Chud.
And he's always great. Like
he was fun in the movie.
Yeah,
he was a lot of fun.
He's always a great performance.
Yeah.
But you go from, again, you got the cast that we had, and keep in mind, like, we fucking love Steve James.
Yes.
Okay, we adore Steve James. Like,
Yes.
Kung Fu Joe.
Yeah, Kung Fu Joe.
Bow.
That's it.
Bow to Kung Fu
I'm
Joe.
gonna get you, sucker.
No, it's
American Ninja 1, 2.
you don't understand.
3.
Steve James was taken to us way too fucking early. He was taken from us like way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucked up. Okay,
Yeah.
and he should have been in everything.
Oh yeah,
He should have been in like everything.
Yeah.
He should have been
Avenging
huge.
Force. Yeah.
Yeah, he should have been in everything, and wasted in McBain, like fucking wasted
terrible.
in McBain. He should have been in this. Like,
Yeah.
he should have been in
Yes,
this
he
one.
should have been.
Like, he could have stolen this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of
The black actor that they did have, though,
yeah, he was fine.
he was pretty good.
Obviously, he
Solid.
was, but that's the thing though. You have three really not everybody knows who Steve James is,
Right.
But you got Christopher Walken and Michael Ironside
Right.
in McBain, which a lot of people know who they are.
Yeah.
And then you got these people that not a lot of people know who most of these guys
Yeah.
are. They had better fucking chemistry together.
They did.
And when, spoilers, one of them dies
Yeah.
in this movie, it's like, oh shit.
We'll leave that. Yeah.
Like, oh shit, that
we'll
sucks.
tell you who.
It's like, that sucked.
Yeah, it did.
Because they all had this nice little camaraderie. It wasn't like massive.
No.
But
There
they
was
found a way to
effort.
make the minimal work, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Where in McBain, everyone was just in the scene together. And it was just like,
All of us, like you even pointed out that Steve James just appeared. And you were like, wait a minute, how does Christopher Walken know Steve James? He's walking with Steve James. And you're like, wait a minute, did we miss a scene where they met?
No.
Like, what happened? And you know what's sad, though, is that obviously when you compare McBain and The Annihilators, McBain obviously had bigger budget.
I would think so, yes.
And they had bigger action sequences and bigger explosions and military vehicles. And they had all of this.
Yeah.
And we did not give a shit.
No.
We were bored. Christopher Walken.
Look,
He is one of our favorite actors. And
Yeah.
if you watch Christopher Walken in McBain, he completely checked out.
Yeah.
Like,
He
it's
didn't-
obvious.
Like, he didn't give a shit. It was like, well,
He's
you don't
there
give a
for-
shit. I ain't gonna give a shit.
Yeah, it's
like,
obvious he does not care.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
again, that was a very tough
But
watch.
Steve James was, he was wasted. He was.
Yeah.
Like, there was that one scene where they're getting ready to break into the compound and
Yeah.
the news station.
Yeah.
And they can't get through the door, so Steve James lining up, do some kind of martial arts kick, and the girl stops him. And I remember you said, "How dare you not let Steve James?"
You don't do that. You don't hire Steve James. You do not hire Steve
What are you
James
doing?
and
Yeah.
not allow him to Steve James.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, no, he was great.
Yeah.
But you have these.
But
again,
yeah,
the cast again, pretty.
You cared. You kind of cared. Not at first. It took a while.
Yeah, but it was
But-
like they again. It was a matter of everybody kind of like coming together just to tell this this story.
Yeah.
And everybody sold it.
Yes.
Everybody gave their all. I thought that was the impression that I got, and that's something that I think we've touched on before. It's like if the movie is sincere,
Yes.
and the actors and you just feel like everybody is there to be sincere in telling a story,
Yes.
it comes across.
Yeah.
And when it comes across to us, we appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
And that's
the movie,
that's what I got
here. The
here.
movie knows what it is.
Yes.
And it's not trying to be the greatest vigilante movie of all time.
Yes.
It's just trying to be a good movie, or at least a fun, at least an entertaining film.
It has a point that it's trying to make, and it's doing the best it can.
And we got a kick out of the fucking badass senior citizens that just didn't give a shit, and we're going out there and busting kneecaps.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, and they even had their little.
Oh yeah, the little. Yeah.
The little 1, 2, 3 rap.
Yeah.
They had like this little signal.
That was a signal.
If anybody needed help.
If anyone needed help.
Yeah.
Or or everyone being aware to team up if needed.
Yeah.
And the Annihilators, the leader, was just like let's do the little three sounding tap, and you had a moment in the movie. They were doing that.
I kind of love this movie.
It's kind of like,
I kind of love this movie.
Right?
It's really fucked up, man.
Right?
It's such a cheesy little low budget, forgotten thing, but again, I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, and it's like at some point, it even the composer had his cat on the keyboard.
I was about to drink, you jerk.
Hey, perfect timing. Or he was checking out some chick's ass, and he was just leaning back on it. I mean, the score was not great, and you can tell a film didn't have a big budget when the main villain has a fucking flamethrower, and he only uses it once.
Yeah.
He only uses it once.
Because gasoline is expensive.
Yeah, he used it. He was threatening everybody, where's my fucking drugs? Alright, whoever's car this is.
Yeah.
Blah. Fucked up the car, and then put flamethrower down and ran away because the bad guys were shooting. The good guys were shooting down.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ninja Star throwing one of the villains back of his hand. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. I mean, not an amazing movie.
No.
And you gotta know what you're in for.
And not even like super fun and ridiculous and absurd, like an over the top canon sort of way.
Death Wish 3.
Yeah, it wasn't even like that. It was like subdued canon.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to if anybody ever wants to seek this out, I don't want to build anybody's expectations up like that.
No.
But it was just one of those, hey, A for effort.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
Yeah. It's like, at first we were concerned. We're like, oh God. Because we've seen a lot of films where the movies are just like this. The micro budget. The soundtrack's not great. The acting's not great. The characters aren't great. McBain. Excuse me. Well, McBain had some budget, but it was like... Yeah. And then it was just boring and bland.
Yeah.
And just stale.
Yeah.
Like another film we're going to get to a little bit later. It was just the more the movie went along, we enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
And we saw the effort despite the budget.
Yeah.
And, we enjoyed The Annihilators.
Yes.
If that's your kind of thing. Yeah, well done. If that's your thing. Smaller scale, vigilante military action, but fun. Go ahead and check out The Annihilators. Anything else before we move on to the next vigilante film here?
No.
All right. So I don't have the case out right now, but the next movie, while you're fact checking over there, because I want to make sure we get the date down. Because you said Annihilators was 85, right?
Yep. Vigilante
was
that
came out
1983.
Ooh, 83.
That is an oldie.
Directed by
our boy William Lustig.
Okay, Lustig.
Yes.
Okay.
Which kind of makes a little bit of sense, all things considered.
Starring two of our favorites.
We got a couple.
Who else?
Well, because Steve didn't star in this one.
Oh, yeah.
But he was in it. And it was nice, and you didn't get to Steve. But this was before Steve was Steve, I think.
This was before Steve James was Steve James.
And we all knew what Steve could do.
Yeah,
we all knew that Steve could be a Steve.
So it's kind of funny we're mentioning Steve James earlier in McBain because he's actually in this movie.
Yeah.
A small minor role. He plays a police officer. But this is Vigilante. And this is just my kind of fucking... Annihilators, I forgot to mention this. I didn't know it was possible for a rated R vigilante film to be adorable.
That's true.
And that's Annihilators.
That was a word we used to describe it.
I didn't know that was
right.
How is that possible?
When the credits were rolling, that was something that we said.
How is that possible?
That's true.
However, Vigilante is not adorable.
No.
Vigilante is fucking kick-ass badass. If you're into vigilante-type films, revenge films, we highly recommend it. There is a little bit of an issue we get to that you kind of brought up towards the end, and I've seen the film once, way back, years ago, and I enjoyed it for what it was way back, but I completely forgotten about it. So rewatching it with you this weekend, it was kind of like watching it again for the first time because it's been so long. But you did bring up some things, and I was kind of like, oh yeah. So that's why I was kind of left wanting a little bit. So we'll get to that, but it stars two of our favorites. We have Fred Williamson, that's right, the crafty veteran, and the other crafty veteran we have Robert Forster, R.I.P. Robert Forster. So, but yeah. Robert Forster is one of those guys where he's just one of those great character actors, but whatever he's in, whether it's a B movie with a giant monster crocodile running around, or he's in a Quentin Tarantino movie, he always takes everything, he takes his job seriously, unlike Christopher Walken in McBain. Unless he kind of knew he was in shit, and the director was just like, I'm not going to direct Christopher Walken, I'm going to let him do whatever he wants because I'm happy he's here. I don't know. But Christopher Walken is usually pretty great in his films, so. But yeah, the McBain is not. We're going back to McBain a lot.
Well,
I can't help it.
It's because that movie bugged the shit out of us.
Yeah. But yeah, the always reliable Robert Forster is in this film as well. And what I like about this movie is, with the Death Wish films, with any type, even Exterminator. Damn it, Steve James was in Exterminator too. He was in the first one. That's 3.
Oh man.
That's 3 Steve James.
And that was really early also.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have been Steve Jamesing yet.
Yeah, another military buddy. Ah! Yeah.
Oh man.
Another military buddy, and they ended up dying in spoilers for
Steve.
Exterminator. Anyway. And Ginty decided to be the gintiest and go after the bad guys in that movie. But usually with the vigilante type genre, our protagonist gets pushed to the edge, right? Family member, friend, something happens, or maybe something happens to himself physically. He gets pushed to the edge, and he's like, "Fuck this," the law. The law's not cutting it. It's all rigged. I'm gonna take matters into my own hands. And then that's the movie. Unlike this movie, as soon as this movie starts, Fred Williamson is basically talking to the audience, which segues to him talking to people, his group.
Yeah.
Basically riling them up and giving this speech like, look, this rape happens every 5 minutes or whatever. Crime, da-da-da-da. What we gonna do about it? What we gonna do about it? Right? Yeah. This is right at the start of the movie. This is before credits, I think.
Yeah.
And he's already training people, already blasting their pistols, practicing on targets. And he gives a really good speech in the beginning. The beginning pumps you up. The beginning gets you ready. And then I was just like, oh shit, we already got a group?
Yeah.
And so that's what's interesting about this movie is that really halfway, maybe the third act, Robert Forster, vigilante.
Because a lot happens to him.
Yes.
Before he is able to turn vigilante.
Right.
Because he's aware of what Fred is doing. And he brings up the whole moral quandary of, what happens if, somebody parts their hair a certain way that I don't like, or somebody does something, and then everybody starts blowing each other's heads off because they don't. And then Fred's like, "Well, you got to sort that shit out for yourself." Yeah. But in the meantime, this is what we're doing. Yeah. And so. And
Fred had a great line. I love his line when he. Because some lines were delivered great by Fred, and then some lines were that's a Fred Williamson delivery type thing.
Some of the one-liners are a little.
Yeah.
Fred.
Fred.
Yeah. Are you Are you ad-libbing again, sir?
But I love that part where he's just like, hey, you know, until you get your head on right and figure out what you need to do for yourself. He opens up his coat, got the pistol right there, and he goes, this is my judge. This is my jury.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on board. I understand both sides.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this is a very interesting type of vigilante film because the whole movie up to that point, it's Fred Williamson and his crew going around fucking dudes up. Like this lady gets assaulted and more by this asshole, and they pick this dude up in a van. And then later, go ahead.
What I really found funny about that scene was that, if this is the same thing that we're talking about, was that the cops show up and she remains silent. There was this crime that happened in an apartment complex, and she witnesses it or whatever happens.
Right.
And she remains like quiet about what happened. Oh, it was the big R scene up top.
Right.
It's the guy that he takes the lady out. It was the chick in the elevator.
Right.
He takes her up to the roof and I think I don't know if he just like,
they don't really show it.
you can assume it's either a rape or a murder or both. You don't really know because you don't see what happens to her after that. But this old lady is taking out her trash and she witnesses the guy running down the stairs and she runs back into her apartment. And so the cops come in after the fact and they're questioning everybody for witnesses and she stays silent.
Yeah.
And she goes straight to Fred Williamson's crew. Like, she's like, fuck the cops. Because the cops and the judicial system aren't going to do shit.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And one of my beefs with the movie is that I felt like there were two conflicting stories in the movie.
Okay.
Which, if they just worked on it a little bit more and converged the two stories a little bit better, I felt like...
Which two stories are you talking about?
I'm talking about Fred Williamson's gang.
Okay.
And Robert Forster's story.
Okay.
If they had like just kind of like worked on their script a little bit more,
right?
That they could have merged the two stories a little bit better because I felt like by the time Robert Forster came along, they kind of like ditched Fred Williamson's.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you pointed out towards the end, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. You can still watch the movie. It's not like
it doesn't ruin it or anything like that.
It doesn't ruin the film.
But I found
you feel like we're just getting started.
I felt like Fred Williamson's whole dynamic, like his little group that he had going, and the relationship that he had with the neighborhood,
they were going after the
was
drug
so
dealers,
fascinating.
They were going after
yeah, because basically what they set up is that even though you only really see 5 gang members, it's like there are more. Yeah. Even though it doesn't really seem like it.
And in this version, the villains aren't as cartoonish. I mean, in a way of...
They kind of are, but they're more brutal.
Yeah, in terms of...
It's hard to say.
In terms of the over-the-top acting from the villain from Annihilators.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that made us laugh. That didn't go... Yeah. That didn't make us go, well, you just kill these guys?
Yeah.
We were laughing.
Yeah.
Different type of entertainment.
It's... Yeah. This isn't a movie that you can laugh at, really. No. Especially this one scene... are we gonna talk about that scene?
Spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah. We talked about it.
Okay, so again,
and that's really surprised me.
You forgot about it.
I forgot about that scene.
So yeah, but that was the thing. It was like I was so invested in the whole dynamic that Fred Williamson and his group had with the neighborhood because they set it up to where the judicial system is so corrupt that the gang members who are being accused of all this shit are bribing their defense attorneys, and the district attorney can't do shit. The district attorney that eventually tries to prosecute what eventually you find out she's trying to prosecute against the gang member that went after Robert Forster's family. Right. She's like, this guy, he's been arrested like 22 times, and so we want to charge him with assault and murder. And then one of the gang members that was also involved in the assault and murder comes in and bribes the defense attorney and walks up to the judge, which you pointed out was played by Santa Claus Conquers the Martians,
the bad guy,
the villain, the main villain, which I can't think for the life of me why I can't remember his fucking name in the movie. I'm gonna fucking look it up.
No, it's not Ator. That's another movie franchise.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna feel like an asshole.
I have my moments.
And
I have my moments where I'll just randomly be like, "Hey, is that what you call from that movie?" It was so random.
Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Yeah, we're looking up Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Because the judge was he's
the villain from that movie.
The actor's name was
from that terrible movie.
Was Vincent Beck. That was the name of the actual actor.
Great Mystery Science Theater episode.
But it was just the fact that that was the guy that played the character, which was fucking hilarious.
I was laughing when the Maniac was the lawyer.
Yeah, he was the defense attorney. Yeah.
The actor from Maniac. Unlike it was cool seeing that dynamic of them, the neighborhood kind of working with Fred Williamson. Voldar.
I've seen that movie a million times. You think I could remember Voldar? I fail. Okay, I fail as a human.
If you ever hear us mention the name Droppo, it comes from that movie. So
before there was Jar Jar.
Yeah, when you hear people say that character is the Jar Jar Binks of that movie, before Jar Jar Binks, there was Droppo. If you watch that movie, you'll get it. Yeah. You're gonna want to shoot the television.
Yes.
Anyway, like you were saying, the dynamic of the neighborhood working with Fred Williamson was very interesting, but they were still scared shitless though. They were not on, like, as a community. They weren't as on board as the community in the Annihilators. Well, they were still scared because look at what happened to Robert Forster's wife and kid. And the neighbors were right there. They didn't do shit.
Well, obviously, it wasn't a situation like this story wasn't about.
I mean, they didn't even call the cops.
No, this story wasn't about the community fighting back. Right. It was about, well, we're fucked, but we have this subsect of the community that's going to fight for us because the cops won't. That's what this story was about. So it was an interesting dynamic, making it completely different from the Annihilators, which I'm like, I'm all on board with that.
Oh yeah.
But that's what I was like. I was so invested in that aspect of things, and I was hoping that by the time Robert Forster came into the fold, he would be more into the fold. Right. But that's not really what we got. But anyway, let's get to the point where he, So Robert Forster, he's just this everyman, he's working, to provide for the family and all that. And he does the cardinal sin. You don't do this in the film. You make plans for the future. You don't fucking do that. You never do that. He's like, yeah, we're gonna take some time and we're gonna go to such and such and we're gonna spend some time together. And you're like, you're fucking dead. You're dead, kid. You did it. You fucked up. Anyway, and so he's off at work and then doing something else, and his wife and their son, who's like supposed to be like 8 years old, something like that. They're at a gas station, and these hooligans, they roll up and they're like tormenting this old dude. Back in the day, it was very common for gas stations to have what they called attendants, where they would pump gas for you.
Put oil.
Like check your wiper fluid, check your this, check your that. But
back in the day,
you weren't actually, most people, you weren't allowed to pump your own gas because it was dangerous or whatever. It was called full service. That's what it was called back in the day. And so the attendant was pumping the gas, and he's like, oh well, the guy that was getting his car filled was like, oh well, I can't pay. And so the old man's like, you hooligans, da 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 da. And so
that was his gas station.
So the guy in the lady that the wife is in the garage getting her car checked out, and there's another younger guy in there with her checking on her vehicle. And so she's witnessing all this going on. And so the gang member is like pouring gasoline all over the old man and threatening him and all this. And the lady's like, do something. And the young guy's like, And so she runs out because she's trying to do the right thing. And she ends up slapping the gang member. Yeah. And she gets heckled a little bit, but the cops turn the corner. The ineffectual cops turn the corner. They don't see anything, but the gang member still gets spooked, and so they drive away. And so she's like, oh, whew. So she goes home with her kid, and she gets into the house. She sends the kid upstairs to go take a nap, and she's on the phone, and she looks outside, and she realizes that the gang members have followed her home. And she's like, oh, shit. So she calls the police, and they're like, "Ma'am, we can't send a patrol car out to you for a verbal assault." And she's like, "Look, motherfucker, I'm by myself, okay?
Yeah.
I need somebody sent out here." Like, "Ma'am, we'll send somebody out when there's somebody available." Click.
Yeah.
And so
the guy who did the verbal threat or whatnot is outside my house. That's kind of a red flag.
Yeah. But it's one of those.
We'll send someone when someone's available.
Everything is a mix of hyper exaggeration in this film with the slight hints of some of this stuff probably does happen in real life. And so she tries to call Robert Forster, but he's not available. And so lo and behold, the gang members bust into the house, and the little kid comes downstairs because he hears the commotion. And she, screams at him to run, and so he runs back upstairs because he's a little kid. He doesn't know any better. Not that he really could do anything else because the gang members, they were kind of blocking the front door anyway. So he runs and he tries to be...
There was like 6 of them.
Yeah, there were quite a few of them.
Yeah.
He tries to be smart, he tries to hide, but he doesn't really know how to hide very well. And so he hides in the bathtub where he's clearly visible through the shower curtain. And so they're like, all but one of them are like harassing her and like ripping her clothes and doing this and that. Yeah. And one of them goes upstairs after the kid. And it's, you'd say like the second in command because you see him most. There's like 2 main gang members that you see most throughout the film. And so the next thing you see is her running outside screaming for help. You don't really know how she escaped, but it doesn't really matter. So she's running outside. She's been like slashed up at this point. Well, not yet. She gets slashed up after the fact. But she's like, her clothes are like ripped and all this stuff. So she's like out back screaming for help. Nobody's doing anything. And you see the one guy creeping slowly upstairs, and he's like, he goes into the room, and then he goes into the bathroom, and you can see the silhouette of the kid in the bathtub with
next to the window.
It's like an opaque curtain where you can't see him, but you can see his outline. And there's like this bright sunlight pouring through, so you can see his silhouette. Yeah. And they keep cutting to her outside.
I don't know how I forgot this. I don't know.
You keep cutting to her outside, which you have this clear view in the backyard of the bathroom window. And you see the guy slowly start to raise a shotgun to the silhouette, and you're just like, you're
just gonna hear it.
This is a B movie, so they'll do it. This is a B movie. They will fucking do it. We saw a Michael Dudikoff, Steve James film where they wiped out Steve James's family. Yeah. Like, you thought at least the boy was gonna survive. No, motherfuckers, they killed them all. And I'm like, they might do it. They might do it. They just might do it. I'm like, they just might do it. And so, slowly raising. And then, you get the classic, pull the trigger. Dude. And then the wife is looking up, and you see just this explosion of blood just burst through the bathroom window in this outdoor shot from her point of view.
I was
and at this point, you're just like, it's the 80s. and so she's screaming, and so the guys come outside, and then they like start beating the shit out of her, and they start slashing her up with a knife, and you're not sure if they pretty much leave her for dead. Yeah. And it's like one of those, it's a miracle she survived and all that. And of course, Robert Forster finds out about all this, and she's in intensive care, she's in a coma, and so he doesn't get to see her for a while, and you don't see her till later in the film. And so they end up somehow, off camera, they arrest the leader of the gang, who is the one that slashed her up, but not the one that killed the son. Right. And they don't arrest anybody else. So they try to charge him for assault and murder, because nobody else is talking, but the guy that actually killed the son is the one that bribes Maniac, who's the defense attorney. And that's when you get the scene with going up to to Voldar the judge, and basically they end up reducing it. The district attorney, the district attorney was trying to get a life sentence, but it didn't work, and because the judge just doesn't give a shit, and they end up getting it to a 2-year sentence, suspended, meaning he basically is not going to serve any time, to which Robert Forster loses his shit and starts like just trying to tear at the judge, just like, how you can't do this, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And so the judge is like, I'm holding you in contempt, you get 30 days in jail. And so Forster ends up getting a month in jail for nothing, for basically because he lost his shit, rightfully so, for what happened. So that's where
what I love about that scene though is up to that point, Forrester's been very, very reserved.
Yeah, and that's where you get that scene where him and Fred Williamson had their conversation, because Forrester's he's an everyday family man.
Yeah.
He's still friends with Fred, but he doesn't agree with what he's doing.
He believes in the law.
Exactly. He even says that we have a judicial system. Even up until the trial, he believes that there's a judicial system. You know, it's one of those things.
But he's very reserved. There's no rage yet. Even when he got to the house, he freaked out, but there wasn't anger yet. Until the 2-year sentencing, then he lost his
suspended.
Shit. And finally, he just I love that scene. It's good. Very good acting.
So he ends up in jail for the 30 days, and you get your typical, you know.
He's a veteran. He was in there for a long time, but he has a heart of gold, I guess.
For no reason. This is where things kind of got a little...
I don't remember his name, but he famously known for being one of the gladiators in Spartacus. But I know he's been in a lot of other movies, Italian westerns. That guy's been everywhere. He's an old school veteran actor. I can't remember his name though.
Maybe I can find it.
But yeah, he's the crafty old veteran in there, and Forrester's gonna, he's fresh meat. He's new meat, so he's going to get jumped, obviously.
Yeah.
And he kind of saves them. And he kind of gives them advice, like, whatever you do out there, don't get caught, don't come back here.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
There was, we get random scenes.
It was lucky you didn't,
We got a scene of random man ass in the shower. Because these guys, they just randomly started picking on Forrester, and I wasn't really sure.
Meat.
I guess that was why.
That's all you need.
I guess that was why. Yeah. And so we got your obligatory
fresh fish.
You got your obligatory shower scene.
Shout out to Shawshank Redemption there.
You got your was it Woody Strode? Is that the actor's name?
Maybe.
That's what it looks like. That guy.
Yeah, he old school.
Yeah, he looks
back in the day.
Yeah. So you get your obligatory shower scene where they attack him in the shower, and it's just nothing but man ass, just a whole widescreen shot of man ass, and a little bit side Forrester dick, by the way. I know you all needed to know that.
Yes.
You're welcome. So if y'all wanted to see side Forrester dick, it's Vigilante 1983. Tell him Lady Phatblood sent you. And so you get your scene, and they're about to do whatever they're about to do.
Yeah.
And he comes in. His name is Rake, and that's his name, Rake.
Oh, okay.
In there, and he comes in and stops them for no reason, just because he's got a heart of gold. He's prisoner with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
And I guess that whole thing was just to kind of toughen him up.
Yeah.
And just to kind of like give him more reason to be like, I got in here for no reason, and they're still out there for freedom.
Yeah.
To give him more incentive to do what he
Pretty
did.
much. Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what that whole scene was for.
As soon as he got out.
Yeah.
As soon as he got out.
I did enjoy that scene.
When he's walking through the court?
Yes. Everybody was playing handball on those courts, and
basketball too.
And he was just walking through, fucking up everybody's game of handball, and he just doesn't give a shit. He just he makes a beeline for Fred Williamson, and he's like, I want him.
Yeah.
And Fred's just like looking at his crew, and his crew's just like, they're like that, That kind of cracked me up.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. So good music, great direction of him walking, good acting.
Yeah.
And Fred's just there chilling, being cool. And now he's in the fold, at least temporarily. He's in the fold. They go get him a gun. They find out where the main gang member is hiding. He's upstairs in this apartment, getting ready to get his groove on with a female. And they burst through, man, and it's like it wastes no time.
Yeah.
Like she runs in the bathroom, but to hide temporarily, and Forrester just walks right up to hey, you kid, this is for my wife.
Well, didn't they?
He said this is for my wife.
Didn't they lock her in the bathroom? Like, didn't they lock her in the bathroom?
She locked herself.
I thought they threw her in the bathroom.
No, she ran in there. I thought.
Oh, I could have sworn they locked her.
Maybe they did throw her in there, push her in there. Either way, she's in the bathroom, and Forrester.
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Forrester basically just takes the dude out.
But he
shoots him multiple times.
He shot him in the arm, and then he was like, he was like, "No, you got the wrong guy," or something like that, because technically he wasn't the one that killed the kid.
Right.
But.
Right.
At this point, it's like, it's kind of a moot point. It's like, y'all were there.
Ruined his life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just basically just finishes the job. Blah, 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 blah. Forrester walks out, and on their way out, the girl grabs a gun. Hey, nobody! Yeah, you can't look past nobody,
like, all
man.
you had to do was stay in the bathroom.
Yeah.
All you had to do was stay in the damn bathroom.
She injured. I don't think that guy died. I think one of Fred Williamson's guys didn't die. He just got shot.
I think, yeah.
In the arm or something like that.
Right,
and then
right.
they blew her away. They're not fucking around, man.
Well,
you come armed.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
And they wouldn't have done shit if she just stayed in the damn bathroom.
Yeah.
She just had to stay.
And you find out later a crooked not politician. The main guy that Fred Williamson shoots several times with the shotgun. They find that guy later. He was on the news.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was kind of a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Well, he gets taken out, and then after that, Forrester thinks he's done. And Fred Williamson kind of gives him some, it's not really over, man. But if you want to run, that's all you. And it's kind of the last time we see Fred Williamson's character. He kind of gives that, that last line of dialogue, like, you can run, but it's just going to be a matter of time. If they find you up in the mountains, what are you going to do then, right? So we're not going to give up our homes. You're running away from your home, but we're not giving up our homes. We're going to fight for them. But you do what you need to do. And you don't really see Fred Williamson anymore. And then, we have that scene that you pointed out where the Steve James cops, and he's with his partner, they get lit up by the gang members.
They get destroyed.
And you brought up the fact that we never went back to that.
Yeah.
It was almost like we felt like there was some more movie missing there.
Yeah.
And you did point that out, and I was like, oh yeah. But Forrester's driving away in his van, and he sees the guy that killed his son, the last gang member, the second in command. He sees him, and he's made up his mind that he's done. He's packed everything from his house. He doesn't want anything to do with him there. His wife doesn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
She ended up surviving and living, but she's all scarred up, and she's for some reason blames him, which was annoying. I don't know why. She blames him.
Yeah.
So she leaves.
Yeah.
So he has nothing, right? And so he's just driving alone, and all of a sudden he sees the guy, and it takes him a while to recognize him, and he's like, you motherfucker, you're the one that killed my son. He gets out of the van, they have a big chase, he chases him up this platform, they fight up there, and they had the last line of dialogue, because he's about to tip him over to his death, and the gang member's like, this ain't shit, I ain't scared, this ain't shit. And then Forrester's like, this means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. He says something like that. And then, whoop, throws that guy to his death. He falls all the way down. Brains, whoop, all over the place.
Splat.
He gets, our boy that we're cheering for gets his revenge. And then the movie ends.
Oh, no.
Wait.
There's one more.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. I thought I knocked the door. Sorry. I forgot I moved my glass. Yes.
Yeah.
The judge, what's his name? Voldar? Voldar.
Judge Voldar.
Yeah. Walks to his car, and all of a sudden, Forrester's in another vehicle, and he pulls out this controller, and just goes, flips the switch, whoop, boom!
Yeah.
And Voldar is blown to smithereens.
So I guess, is that implying that...
And then the movie ends.
So does that imply that he's decided to stay?
See, we don't know.
Does that imply that, yeah, it's still personal, because the judge decided to...
Yeah.
But Fred was right. It's never over.
Right.
Does that imply that he's decided to stay and help clean up?
You could look at it like that.
I'm just wondering. I'm just trying to blue sky because I was so unfulfilled.
Yeah.
Because Steve James was set up as this cop that was like, he knew about the vigilante group. He had this conversation with Fred, and he's like, we don't need you guys, pulling your shit in this.
Yeah.
He's like,
if you guys are the ones.
He's like, I know that we're short. He's like,
yeah.
I know that we're short with cops. I know that we've got only 2 patrol cars when we need 10. But we're out here 8 to 12 hours a day doing our thing, doing the best we can. But we don't need your guys. We don't need you guys. I think Steve knew. I think his character knew that it was them doing it.
Right.
But they were playing. Fred Williamson's crew was playing dumb and all that. They didn't really say anything. So Steve wasn't like I'm gonna get those vigilantes. He wasn't playing that type of character.
No.
He was more like, look, I know what you're doing. Just knock it off.
Right.
You know. So
he was one of the good cops.
He was just kind of, he wasn't like being paid off by the gang members, is what I'm saying.
No.
So when he died, it was kind of like, well, what was the point of his character?
Yeah.
You know, it was like, oh, the good cops, they're gonna, you know, die with them.
You're asking those questions because nothing can't you know, the gang members did not get their, you know, comeuppance.
Yeah, because all of those gang members that lit up Steve and his partner, even though they didn't murder the child, they were still involved with the assault.
Yeah, and the break-in.
And only 2 of those people were killed for the crime.
Right.
The rest of the gang members got away from.
And right after, so we have that scene. So you think our vigilante group, whether it be Forrester or Forrester with Fred Williamson, you know, get the revenge, get payback. It just doesn't happen, you know. So right after he blows up Voldar, you know, it's like, oh shit, here we go. You get that, you know, you get that feeling like, oh fuck, now he's, like you said, he's in the fold now. He's blowing up motherfuckers, right? But we don't get that satisfaction of it's still a good movie. I still highly recommend it, but you don't get that type of satisfaction of, okay, now we're going to see Forrester go back, join up with Fred Williamson. Now he's on the vigilante team 100%. Yeah. And then they go after the rest of the gang members for killing the cops and terrorizing the city. And then the movie ends. I think that would have been a lot more satisfying ending. Yeah. But, you know, we don't know the reason why it was kind of cut short like that. We don't know. Yeah. Budget issues. We have to hurry up and film and end it. Yeah. We don't really know. But at least the main players got what they deserved. Right. At least the movie gives you that.
So now I'm kind of starting to wonder, based on that ending, now that we're kind of talking it out more. Yeah. Now that we're talking out that his original intent was to just leave. Right. Since, you know, his wife left and there was nothing left for him. Right. Like, now I'm wondering, since he did end up going after the judge. Yeah. Now I'm starting to wonder.
You can look at it that way, yeah.
If that's the implied message of the film, is that no, he is going to stay. Yeah.
And like I said, you can look at it that way.
Even though we didn't get to see the rest.
But it would have been a cool little bonus. You know. The hook up with Fred, you know, and his group. But what we got back there? What's going on?
I just want y'all to see this. This is a little Mothra. Look at that! Look at the bulbous on that.
The bulbous.
Look at the bulbous. I have a thing for like things with big heads. Look at that! Isn't that just the cutest fucking thing you've ever? Look at that! Isn't that adorable?
For you kaiju fans out there, she's showing.
Isn't that just the cutest little
kaiju listeners?
This is one of my kaiju shelves back here, by the way. If you can, I don't know if you can really see that back there.
For you that
There's like two more. There's 2 more that you can't see.
She's showing off the Godzilla shelf we got on the back.
This is my little Anyway, back to Vigilante. Little kaiju.
Kaiju break.
Little kaiju cutie break.
Bulbous break.
Anyway.
But yeah, it's still a good movie.
I did still enjoy it, but...
Yeah. Definitely.
That gives me more to think about now about the ending. Yeah, and that kind of makes me feel a little better. Yeah, even though the Steve James character.
But that proves how good the movie is, though, because you're invested and you want to see more. So
I did still want to see more, though, even though that ending gives me more to think about. Yeah. I did still want to see more with that whole. It's almost like a John Wick thing, where if they had given me a sequel and you get to see more of that world building that they did, you know, it's like, that would have been cool. You know?
I would have loved a Vigilante too.
Yeah,
but you know,
we didn't get it.
But highly recommend Vigilante to cure your vigilante needs. Now.
Oh.
The reason you probably clicked on the video.
Woof.
Or the reason you probably clicked on the podcast to listen to it. So, shout out to the Fluffy Gamer. That's right. Make sure you guys go to his channel and subscribe if you're into video games and movies and a whole lot of fun. Check out his drunk reviews as well, and shout out to OGP as well. But they were over the house to visit a while back and watch some UFC, and Fluffy gave us a gift. And I was like, hell yeah, man, thanks. This is awesome. Now, we just recently got around to watching it. Never heard of this film. Didn't know it existed. But brought to you from Rhino Home Video. I don't even know if this DVD is available anymore. I don't know if you can find it. Probably not. It's old school. You have the awesome 80s. So you know we're already on board. But bad news for bad guys. We have, thanks to Fluffy, Scorpion. Look at it. Look at that. Look at that cover. Look, awesome 80s. Look. Oh yeah, we're all in. We're in. This is our shit. That's probably why he gave it to us too, because he knows we like cheese. So this is our shit. So we got our guy back here. That's right. Yes. Yes, look at this badassity we have going here. Yes. And who is the name of the lead again? What was his name? Tony?
I don't know if it's Tony or Tawny. I'm not sure how to pronounce.
Because it's two N's, right?
Yeah, it's Tulliners. I don't know how to pronounce his name, unfortunately.
We're gonna just go out on a limb here. We apologize if we say it wrong. Tony Tulliners. We apologize if we're saying it wrong. Okay. So we got in our B movie cheese fest mindset, and we started watching this, and
so it started out promising.
It started off
incredibly,
like the type of B movie we were hoping it was.
Incredibly incompetent. You know, it was an ugly film because it's very old. Yeah. Where there's no cleanup of this transfer. It looked like somebody had run it through a VHS. It looked like they recorded it off a TV with their camcorder. You know, watched it on VHS about 50 times and then just transferred it straight to the DVD. That's what it looked like. Or
if it's actually widescreen, it's not anamorphic. I mean, so it looks a little stretched.
It looks like it's seen. You know, yeah. It looks fine. You know. Which is, you know, fine, whatever. Yeah. You know, not all movies get remastered. No. Whatever. It's cool. No. And,
but we had the beginning. Yeah. Was already ending. Our hero drives a red Porsche.
It was incompetent. It looked like a massive ego stroke. You know, it had all those hallmarks of like, oh, this is going to be some awful fun shit.
Yes.
And, you know.
Samurai Cop style.
Kind of, yeah.
You know, and, that's what we were hoping.
And, you know, in the beginning of the film, you know, after the first couple of minutes, he stripped down to his boxer shorts.
Wait, hold on. So he shows up in the red Porsche because he's cool like that, right? Gets out, he's got the cool shades on, he's got the Dockers, right? Goes into a bar, right? Villains in the bar, messing with this guy's chick, beats up the boyfriend, and so our hero, Tony Tiddlywinks, what's his last name again? Tulliners. Kicks their ass, martial arts style. It's like one of the worst fights you've ever seen, but beautiful at the same time.
And keep in mind, this whole movie, we were under the impression, and this is why it's important to have a good fight choreographer.
Yes.
We were under the impression that this fool could not fight.
Yes, this is so amazing. Your mind's gonna be blown when we get to the end of this.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, this is beautiful. The guy can't fight. This is horrible. This is going to be great. Yes. Cheese fest. Here we go, right?
Yep.
Then we have when I looked at the guy, what was the first thing I said? As soon as he started doing martial arts and doing kicks and stuff and the way he looked, I was like, this guy's a Chuck Norris wannabe. That's what I said. Yeah. I was like, there's 5 billion Bruce Lee clones out there, right? You can, as much as we like Daniel Bernhardt, we respect Daniel Bernhardt, we're fans.
Yeah.
But he can be kind of looked at as a Jean-Claude Van Damme clone, right? There's clones out there. Mm-hmm. There's no Steven Seagal clones, I've noticed. But hundreds of Bruce Lee clones. I've never really seen Chuck Norris clones. So I was kind of like perplexed. I was like, is this the first Chuck Norris clone? Wow. Little did I know what we were about to find out later. So anyway. So just like a ripoff of Delta Force, which made me think of a Chuck Norris clone, we have the terrorists to take over the plane. So we have, Tony the Tiger go in there, right? They want to make sure he doesn't have any guns on him, right? He wants to go in there and make sure the hostages are safe so they can meet the terrorist demands, right? So he takes off the styling 80s clothes puts on, there was some other guy, some random guy in there, a room full of suits, and there's one guy in there with super high...
Upsetting shorts.
Yeah. He takes them off, gives it to, Tony, and he puts on the shorts to show he, doesn't have anything. He goes, and they look like boxer shorts.
Yeah, who knows?
But I was so happy, I was so excited, because you had this guy who looks like Chuck Norris clone. He goes in the plane with Chuck Norris ripoff plot from Delta Force. He's wearing super upsetting shorts, Lakers from the 80s shorts, with porn star stash, goes in there, kicks this one terrorist, kicks this terrorist, knocks the gun up in the air, grabs the gun, spins around, and shoots the female terrorist in the back. And I was like, oh, woo, all right, get this, yes, more, give me the, yes. I was so excited. Oh, what a mistake. But then again, we do have the amazing ending that we're going to talk about, or the follow-up of the film. So, if the movie just would have stuck with that.
Yeah.
It was just fun, over the top. I mean, it's like the guy, his code name, Scorpion.
Yeah, because everything after that
and then in
was
the newspaper, his real name showed up.
Yeah.
And he's like, how did they get my real name?
Yeah, everything after
that...
that...
you fucked up the cool code name.
Everything after that was so boring. The movie...
man.
The movie went completely, we're super serious now. We weren't trying to be over-the-top, ridiculous action extravaganza, It wasn't even like that. It was like, it went totally serious, totally, no, this is a legitimate action flick, guys, really, no. And we're trying to tell a serious story here. No, we weren't trying to be, fun or anything like that. It was almost like that. Those first two scenes were filmed after the initial film was made to add like onto the running time, because the movie
more action.
Well, because the movie was like an hour and 39, and those two action scenes at the beginning didn't really fit in.
Yeah,
they didn't have any bearing on the plot.
There's going to be more.
Yeah, but those two scenes at the beginning of the movie didn't fit into anything that happened in the rest of the movie. Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking now, did they do that for time?
Maybe.
Because the movie wasn't terribly long, although it felt a little bit long. Like it took us a couple times to get through the film. Yeah. Having two scenes back to back that had no bearing on the rest of the film, I'm like, and tonally they were completely inconsistent with the rest of the film, which is boring as hell.
Yeah.
And it was like this political intrigue, like this guy, it was like a cat and mouse thing where, we're after this guy, but no, he's not really the guy. It's this other guy who's hiding, and he's like on the. It ended up being really stupid, and it was very roundabout, so that you can hardly follow it. It's like the leads knew what was going on, but they didn't explain it well enough so that the audience knew what was going on.
Yeah.
It was like. Yeah. Okay, what is this, an old episode of Batman where everybody knows the answers because the writers told them the answers? It was very convoluted and stupid.
And then his partner, well, not partner, but I guess the team he was with, was it his brother or not? Man?
No, they were just childhood friends.
Okay, childhood friends. He gets,
fucking bullshit.
He gets killed.
Oh!
They had these horrible, boring, what is
Now, here's a perfect example of where setup and payoff is done horribly.
Yeah, I'll let you.
Where Annihilators did it well.
Yeah, go ahead. You do it.
I don't even know where to start with this. They had this. Oh my god! So this fool has this partner that you only find out through flashbacks once the partner is being worked on, but then he bleeds out and he dies. But you find out in flashback that they were childhood friends. And when they were childhood friends, you find this out later on through exposition, that when they were kids, the dad was mad at this politician for being corrupt, but he had a statue of a bust of in the park.
What was going on, man.
And so the little boy that was the lead when they were little kids, the friend that got killed when he was little, the dad always told him you could do anything you want. And so the little boy for his dad tried to push over the statue or the block of stone with the bust on it, but he couldn't, and so he felt like a failure. And
See?
Are you following this? Because we sure the fuck didn't.
What happened to this?
And so when you know the guy dies, there's this stupid thing where he's playing this recorder, you know, that flute-like instrument, but it's called a recorder.
Yeah.
And that shows up later, shoved up the guy's ass or something. I don't know.
At the end of the movie, yeah.
At the very end of the movie, you see it again once he's won the war or whatever the fuck. I don't give a shit. And because suddenly he has a houseboat. He never had a houseboat before, but suddenly by the end of the movie, he's got a houseboat. So he finds the flute.
And his red Porsche, it magically turned brown.
Turned an ugly brown. It's like, okay. So he finds the recorder under his ass cheek and he pulls it out and he's like, oh, that smells great. And so he looks at it all sad and then he looks at his friend like, "Arr." And so the end of the movie, he meets up again with his girlfriend that we forgot was even a character in this movie. She wasn't really a character. She was just a body.
One scene.
And they're walking through the same park. And he looks over and he sees the stone slab with the bust of the corrupt politician and he's like... And he walks over to it and in slow motion he starts to push it and the girlfriend's like... And so she starts to slowly push it over and in slow motion he pushes over the statue and that's the last fucking frame in the movie is him pushing over the statue.
Hey, deep. Okay.
Fuck off!
It was deep.
Fuck the fuck off, you fucker fuck. Fuck.
Yeah, I was booing by the end. I was just like,
oh
boo.
My God.
Anything heroic this guy tried to do, I was like, boo. Boo.
You know.
Boo movie. And then the fight choreography was so bad and clunky.
And horribly filmed and edited, so nothing was doing this guy any favors. Like I said, we didn't know that this guy could even fight.
Yeah.
You could have fooled us.
There was a few shades here and there where we were like, okay, maybe this guy might know a little, but it was so clunkily.
Yeah, it was horribly filmed and
it's just the fight choreography was bad. There was no sound effects for a lot of stuff.
No, you pointed that out. You were like,
it was just like
they could have put some sound effects in these movies.
Here's an example, really quick. So he's chasing one of the bad guys, this German guy, up the steps, and there was this guy coming down the steps, this regular guy. So the bad guy turns, points his gun at the regular guy, and then right after that, our hero runs up right there, and then it kind of looks like he either shoots at him and kind of slashes his forehead, the bullet just kind of skips his head, or he hits him with the gun. It was kind of hard to tell. And then after that, he runs up the steps, and then the guy was dead. The innocent guy is just laying there dead, bleeding. I heard no gunshot. When he didn't, no gunshot went off to kill the innocent guy, and what was that? In a matter of like 3 or 4 seconds, that whole scene, and I have absolutely no idea what happened.
It was,
and that's just an example of I was just like, what the fuck happened right there?
Yeah, it was the
like,
type.
what happened?
It was the type. It went from being, like I said, like those 2 first scenes were the fun incompetent.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, we're on to something.
Yeah,
like Samurai Cop.
Yes.
And then it went to being boring incompetent.
Yeah.
That type where you're just like, oh, this isn't even worth it.
You can't be boring, man.
No.
Even
you can't take yourself.
Even the greatest movie ever, you can't be boring. You got to give us bigger body count or something.
And you can't.
At least decent fights. Or something entertaining that we can grasp straws from.
And you can't
but
be so
happening.
You can't take yourself so seriously that you're just not fun, and again that's one of the things that we were, when we talk about movies like The Annihilators, where it's like it knows what it is and it's trying to be sincere about it. This movie, it's like, okay,
we have the next big thing, the next big star.
Which surprises me because you come to find out that...
Are we done with this movie? Are we getting to the surprise yet?
I guess we might as well. Okay.
There's really not that much to talk about.
There really isn't. This movie is a big slab of nothing. And
either you don't know what the fuck's happening, or when you do know what's going on, you're bored.
Yeah.
It's just...
So...
Yeah.
So, how do we...
Ends, I'm booing. I'm booing.
I'm looking the guy up.
Because I said, I guarantee you this guy's only been in one film.
Yeah.
Right?
So I start
to look him up.
I start looking this guy up. And one of the first things that pop up when you find him is that, yes, this is the only film that he did. And there's a reason for that. Which makes me surprised that he even did this, to be honest.
Yes.
Because there's a reason why, and we'll get to that in a second. One of the first things that pops up when you look up this guy is that he is known to be the man that beat Chuck Norris 3 times.
Not just beat Chuck Norris, but beat him 3 times.
He is the man that Chuck Norris could not beat in karate competition. And
this guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
Right.
Apparently, Chuck Norris, in his karate tournaments, he lost to 3 other people, but he did get his wins back.
He's fought okay, so he's lost to Joe Louis, Alan Steen, and Luis Delgado, but he was able to get wins on all those people later on.
Right, because Chuck's a badass.
Not Tony.
Not this guy.
Chuck was never able to best Tony.
3 times.
So.
And they've only fought 3 times.
Yes, and so. You know, when it was all said and done, Chuck started to get more popular because he was in the Bruce Lee movie, and then he started making his own movies. And
what is happening? And the guy that didn't look like he could fight his way out of a restroom defeated Chuck Norris
in tournaments. Yes, in competition.
3 times.
3 times, and Chuck could never best him, and he never. Ever, apparently, made it a point to capitalize on this. Which kudos for him.
You know,
I respect him for that
because
especially when the Chuck Norris boom hit with the Chuck Norris facts and you know when Chuck the boogeyman looks under his bed for Chuck Norris and all that stuff. It would be very easy to.
He could have.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's not even on here.
Yeah,
there's nowhere on here. There's a state. That this is the guy that beat Chuck Norris 3 times.
He chose to better himself in karate.
Very surprised.
He chose, instead of capitalizing on that and pursuing more acting and pursuing movie deals like Chuck did.
It's kind of admirable.
He decided he wanted to just focus on karate and be better in the sport.
I know he's on the cover of Black Belt magazine. That's probably as far as it got. And then
but that makes sense though because that's promoting the sport and there's nothing.
Yeah, martial arts.
Yeah, a lot of Mark Dacascos has been on covers.
Yeah,
and
everybody.
Just about. There's nothing. I don't think.
But it's interesting though because those early martial arts films from the '90s, a lot of them advertise the fact that these guys are legit.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those early Don and Dragon Wilson films, it was like 8-time
kickboxing
champion.
Yeah.
Billy Blanks, 5 like they'll advertise that, and I have no problem with that.
Even fucking Aaron Banks. Which we will get to that.
We're going to talk about Aaron Banks and.
I don't know how. I don't know how we're gonna muster the courage to get to that. But one day we're gonna have to.
And our boy Brendan Mitchell, that's right. Shout out to Wet Movie 1, gave us the film Fist of Fear, Touch of Death, and
on Blu-ray. Somebody had the balls. Shit. Somebody had the balls to release that on Blu-ray.
Also starring Fred Williamson, but that's another video. So stay tuned for that.
But he chose to not capitalize on it, which again is why I'm surprised he did choose to make this film in '86.
Yeah. Maybe he was curious. He just wanted to try it out.
But again, he never did it again.
Yeah.
Maybe
he saw the movie. Okay.
In which case, he's a very smart person. I was. Before we knew all of this,
my mind is fucking blown.
Before we knew all of this, I was giving him a lot of grief for his awful charisma,
awful everything,
negative charisma. We're talking
everything.
For as much flack as I give Chuck Norris for his lack of, The only time I've ever seen Chuck Norris with a personality is when he was opposite of Louis Gossett Jr. in Firewalker.
Well, you have not seen all of his movies, okay?
Well, excuse the hell out of me. You know what? I take it back. I thought he was good in the movie we were just talking about, Forced Vengeance. I thought he was good in that.
Yeah.
Because it was it played to his strengths.
Yeah, Forced Vengeance, great movie.
Where the fuck is the Blu-ray? God damn it! Come on, Arrow! Give me a break, man!
I know.
Anyway.
Even though this Bob the Baker looking generic dude, porn stash guy, even though this guy supposedly kicked Chuck Norris's ass 3 times, does not deter from me being a Chuck Norris fanboy. I'm still a fan of his movies. I mean, some of the greatest fighters of all time out there got their asses kicked. We're still fans, okay? But was not expecting.
I just find it fascinating that we've
watching this movie. And this is where we ended up.
Of all the movies that
finding out
that we could have been given, and all the rabbit holes we could have fallen down.
Yeah,
that's where we got taken.
Can you imagine if we didn't? We just shut it. Oh, this movie sucks, and it just didn't even bother.
You know,
and now it's like
it was kind of worth the trip.
It's
even
fascinating
though the movie
now.
was
This is fascinating. So thank you, Fluffy.
The movie itself wasn't worth it in terms of that. It's like it started out promising, but then it like totally pissed itself down at the leg. Down
is this good enough to rebuy if it gets remastered? No.
No.
But
unless they come out with like a 2-hour retrospective on Tony Tony's life, and then hey, maybe.
So what was that fact? Chuck Norris facts you said earlier?
The boogeyman checks under his bed for Chuck Norris.
And Chuck Norris checks under his bed for
Tony Tony.
Tony Tribbles.
Tribulations.
Yeah, so mind blown. Mind blown. Like, what?
My goodness.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So that was very interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bad for giving him guff. And okay, let me clarify something when I talk about Chuck Norris's personality. Okay. When I talk about Firewalker, which we didn't really ever get to properly talk about.
Right.
Which I fucking loved that movie.
It was a fun movie.
That was the most personality I've ever seen him with.
Yeah.
Okay.
They deserved a sequel.
So it's like he's not known for charisma.
Yeah.
He's not known for personality, which in that movie, he was actually quipping and actually convincingly, but I think it's because Louis Gossett Jr. was in the movie and he had no choice but to kind of...
Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood could be known as people can look at him and be like, okay, this guy's a very wooden actor, right? But he's a good actor and he's done great work, right? But Chuck's very stoic. That's just kind of how he is. You know, he's not Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan does his own thing. You know
well, yeah. Well,
but in terms of acting,
Jackie Chan and
Jet Li's got his style. Donnie Yen's got his style.
But Jackie Chan, I think Jackie Chan and you go Sammo and Yu Biao, they have the advantage of being performers.
Yeah.
They came from the theater, like that their version of the theater. I would say, you know,
the opera.
Yes, so they have their own advantage of being able to perform. Whereas when your background is karate,
amongst other things,
you don't have a background in being able to emote and speak dialogue convincingly.
Yeah,
and again,
but Chuck didn't really need it though.
Well, for the roles, as long as he was playing to his strengths.
Yeah, well, which he
did.
But
this poor guy, I commend him for not taking it any further.
Yes.
Because it
would have, you know, even if he would have milked it and decided, you know what, I fucked this dude up 3 times, I'm gonna make tons of money off of it and plaster it everywhere. His movie career would have died instantly. Which it kind of did. But if he made more movies and still had that up there, that would have drawn more attention to him, obviously. But the quality.
If they were all like that, that would have been awful. Like, it would have been, he would have been, I think that would have ruined his reputation. So it's probably better that he did what he did.
A one and done.
So again, I commend him for
fascinating discovery.
Very, very much so.
Very fascinating. But that is it for Scorpion. We do not recommend you watch the film.
Sorry.
Unless you're curious.
It's not fun. It's not a fun watch.
No.
It's like Annihilators was fun.
It was right there with, you know, it had potential to be good, bad. And then it's just bad, man. You know, it's just... Yeah. You know, it's kind of a waste of this dude. In a way, like where was his big finale end fighting the villain? Like he was boring.
Yeah.
A lot of people in offices on their phone, people walking around, traveling. Like, where's the action? But
yeah.
When the movie instantly get takes away what's cool about his name, Scorpion. That was like right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, your real name's in the newspaper. How did that happen? Mm-hmm. Well, so much for Scorpion. That was like at the beginning. Yep. Like, well, so much for that.
Yep.
a fun weekend of watching movies. At least it ended well with the discovery of Scorpion, because we were like, oh, that was kind of a downer. Because we were on a roll. We had Annihilators was fun, Vigilante was good time, and then, oh, Scorpion, but then, holy shit, what the fuck? Discovery, so.
Yep.
It did have, it was a blessing in disguise, I guess. But yeah, there you go. If you guys out there, martial arts movie fans, if you're wondering who defeated Chuck Norris 3 times, now you know. Anything else before we wrap up the podcast for today?
No.
No? We're good to go? All right. We'd like to thank all you badasses for watching us, and badasses for listening to the podcast. Remember, you guys can always find our podcast to listen to on FM Anchor and Spotify, as well as others. And we'll put the links to the others in the description box below if you are watching us on a streaming channel. That's right. But thanks again for hanging out with us. You guys fucking rock.
And hopefully this format works.
Hopefully. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.